Hello, today for my last piece in oral performance, I have chosen a short story written by Matthew Campbell, who won a prize for this in a contest in California. This was the first piece that I read when I was looking to choose my work for this, and it stuck out to me, probably because it's tragic and depressing, and I seem to go towards that stuff. But this is a love story in a tragedy inside of a tragedy, and um, so that's what it is. The name of this is called Beyond the Fence, and again, it's written by Matthew Campbell. The love of his life had been married for 5 years before he had met her, and dead for 5 days before he'd even found out. Clandestine lovers weren't notified in the event of a tragedy. The police and medical examiners had waited days before releasing the names of those killed in the concert fire. The paper had published profiles of the victims, and that's where, halfway through his usual breakfast of a slice of toast and a banana, the news had found him. The funeral had been yesterday, but of course he hadn't gone. How could he look at her husband and her children and explain away the grief that had become as much of a part of his face as his nose? Instead, he'd come to say goodbye on the same grass that she died on. He wasn't alone. Shrines ringed the police barricades. Flowers, pictures, and candles were woven into the temporary steel fence, the flotsam of a tide of communal sorrow. As he looked now on the lawn, it was hard to imagine how anyone could have been crushed in such a wide open space. But the fire on stage had been fierce, and thousands of people had packed that event. It had been a country concert, of course. That's what she loved. He'd ask, "You know what you get if you play country music backwards?" It had been a day as beautiful as today, with sunlight streaming across their bodies as they lay on the hotel bed and listened to an old song that she had just put on. Was it Cash? George Jones? He'd have to look it up. Funny how he wanted to remember every detail now, even that. "That's such an old joke," she said. He'd finish it anyway. "You get your wife back, your house back, and your dog back." She pushed him softly. "Stop it, you're making fun of me." "Seriously, why do you like this stuff?" he'd ask. "Because it tells a story. Each song has its own life, and they create their own reality within it." "Yeah, but it's depressing reality," he'd said. "Life's messy," she said, and just kissed him. As he stood in front of one of the shrines, he saw a glint in the grass. Something sparkled just beyond the fence. He carefully stepped over the guttered candles and reached his fingers through the mesh wire and pictures to dig after the glint that was smashed into the grass. It was an earring, gold with small stones, long and dangling. He'd seen it before. She'd have liked it. They had never given each other anything. Every trace of their relationship had been hidden. Text message deleted, evenings accounted for with plausible alibis, clothes washed to remove cloying traces of a foreign scent. His only picture of her was the one that had accompanied her profile in the newspaper. The only footprints left by the passing of their love were in his mind, and he could already feel their edges eroding. Without his reality deciding on it, and without him really deciding on it, the earring became hers. He could see her wearing it, smiling at him from across the table or from the other side of the rental car. He had given it to her. He knew it, and now he found it again. The only small thing would bear evidence to their love, this one small thing, their existence. Like her country songs, he'd create his own reality. "Life's messy," he thought as he turned away.